How many of you are here tonight because you had questions about Youngevity's products, wanted to know more about the product line? Okay, good. How many of you are here tonight because you wanted to know more about the distributor opportunity and learn about that? Okay, great. So we have some on both sides of the aisle with that deal. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover both. And this presentation is kind of a background presentation on Youngevity, on Dr. Wallach, the whole story of where we come from, what we stand for, why I feel Youngevity is extremely unique, what makes us different from other things out there. First off, let me introduce myself. My name is Todd Smith. I was first introduced to Dr. Wallach back in October of 1996. So I've been with him for 14 years now. And the truth of the matter is that I was introduced to Dr. Wallach not because I had health concerns at the time, but I had a very sick wallet. Okay, anyone had a sick wallet before? You know what I'm talking about? I was in need of some money, and the reason was I was in my first year of law school when my wife and I found out we were having triplets. And we hadn't had any kids before, and so you can imagine all of a sudden 3 babies, you need a bigger car, a bigger place, and well, 3 of everything, right? You had to get a lot of things. And so I was in a little bit of a financial crunch. And I'd found a few ideas, things I could do from home. I took them up to Idaho where my parents live, and I showed them to my dad. He's very successful in business. I trusted his judgment. I said, Dad, here's this idea, what do you think? And here's this idea, what do you think? I showed him to him. And after he heard all those ideas out, he said, Todd, I have no idea. I've never done any of those. And so I don't know if they'd work or not. They could be great, but I don't know. But he said, one of the things you showed me was a nutritional product. And I knew nothing about nutrition. It was just something I'd come across. He said, I don't know anything about that particular product, but he said, your mom and I have found something that is fantastic. And he said, I want to show it to you. So he went over to the refrigerator and he poured a glass of juice and he poured some stuff in and stirred it up and he slid it across the bar to me and he said, here, drink this. Well, I knew my dad pretty well, so I smelled it first. And I said, what's in it? And he said, I don't know for sure. He says, it's some old stuff that comes out of the mountains of Utah. But he said, all I know is that your mom started getting this from a friend, the gal that she plays tennis with, and it's helped her with arthritis. Basically, arthritis is gone. Bone spurs are gone. She doesn't have to wear the orthotic in her shoe anymore. And he said she was feeling so great and having so much energy that I decided, you know, I'd sneak some. He'd been giving her a hard time about it before that, right? You're wasting your money, that kind of thing. So he started sneaking some, and he said, the stuff works. It's for real. And he said, if you're going to go and try to sell a nutritional product, especially to neighbors and friends and family, he said, you can't go sell just any product, especially because there are snake oil salesmen out there, okay? There are people that talk a lot about something, but it's not actually the real deal. And he said, you've got to make sure that what you're selling is real, and this stuff is for real. I said, great, tell me more. And then he introduced me to the fellow that he was purchasing it from, who introduced me to Dr. Wallach, and I got to actually hear Dr. Wallach speak. And after that, and meeting a bunch of people who had been following his regimen, following his advice, and how great they felt in their stories, I said, this is it. You know, Darcy and I, we said, let's jump in, we do this. And so originally when we got involved, this was just a plan to get us through college, right? It was just a short-term thing to pay the bills so that I could finish my grad degree and then go off and get a job, right? That was the plan. The person who introduced this to me said, I bet if you work this hard like a business, that by the time you graduate, you won't want to go be an attorney. You'll stay with this. And I laughed him off. I said, yeah, whatever, okay. Because all I had was this, you know, students, right? How far in advance are students thinking? The end of the semester, right? Because then classes start again, right? So I didn't have that long-term focus when I started. But fantastically, by the time we were done with school, I had a flourishing business. And I found out that not only was this a business that allowed me to pay my bills and do wonderful things with the family, but I've been able to help literally thousands of people with their health along the way and see fantastic things happen. I mean, things that I would have to say are just short of miracles. People that are really broke down in their health and have an absolute turnaround. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But that's how I was introduced to this company. That's why I've been involved, and that's why I will always be involved. It's because it is a company that makes a difference.